So, in how bad a state is your race car going to be if it sits and doesn't move for nearly 3 years? Let's go ahead and take a look in depth at what it's going to take to get this thing back on the road. So it might be worth giving a little context for what this car is and why it exists. There was a different YouTube channel I was a part of called Budget Racers, and this is actually my very first car. So the sentimental value to me is that this car was owned by my grandfather, and he kind of gifted it to my brothers and I when he passed away. So my oldest two brothers had it, and then I got it. And this channel really began modifying this car. Initially, it was just kind of taking out the interior and doing, 16-year-old stuff. But eventually it got more and more serious. And we started by putting K-Sport coilovers on it. Then eventually it got some Brian Crower cams. And of course, the discovery was made that this Hyundai Sonata actually has the 4G63 block in it, or 4G64 block and 4G63 head. And so it's a 2.4 liter non-turbo Mitsubishi engine. And so, of course, when you figure out your car has the capacity to be turbo, there's only one proper thing to do from there, and that is to stick a turbo on it. This project took many, many moons. It took multiple years and quite a bit of money, but eventually we got it running. And then, of course, life got in the way, and much has changed since then. In all of the years that this car has existed, it's only ever seen one track day, which is the one and only track day I've ever done. It was fantastically fun, and it's something that I've wanted to do for many, many years now. So the goal with this particular car and what we're going to do today is get this thing back functional. So at least we can kind of feel it out and see what the next move is. There's still a lot of other pieces for me to figure out in terms of logistics of getting to track days. I need a tow rig, I need a trailer, that kind of thing. But all of that is more achievable now than it ever was before. So I'm really, really excited. Let's go ahead and take a look under the hood and kind of see the most pressing things that need to be addressed. So of course, as you've already seen, this car is absolutely woefully filthy. So we're gonna get that sorted out. It deserves to get all this green slime junk off of it. And then it looks like we had some little rodent friends in here, and they chewed through one of our plug wires here. They kind of chewed through this. It doesn't look like they actually made it into the wires, which is good, but the actual sheathing here definitely has been affected, and we can see their evidence down there. So we need to get all their little nuts and stuff out of the car. There's cobwebs and all kinds of stuff. And then there's just other things that was never addressed on this car all the way through the years that are just so simple and easy to do. Like, there's broken bolts in the valve cover. So there's one here, there's one here. I think there's even another one somewhere else that was broken off. And that was really just a matter of us at the time having no idea what to do in terms of torque specs and any of that kind of stuff. So then of course it's just also filthy. We need to just get this crap off of it. Like, that wasn't that way before, and this is going to be relatively easy to clean. Other really important things to address is look at these fuel lines. That's absolutely terrible. Just so bad. I'm not actually even sure that these are proper fuel lines. Maybe that's part of the reason why. And then other than that, just for kind of, getting it to run again, that's about all we need to do for now. There are other things in here that really need to be addressed, like this positive battery cable that runs from the battery all the way in the back to where it meets the old harness is just basically soldered together and wrapped up with electrical tape. So I'd like to make that more elegant and not so janky. And then there's stuff like the boost controller here, just sitting idly, dangling. And it's just not that complicated. So there's just many, many things that can be fixed and made better. The turbo has no screen on it. It's hard to see, but right down in there, the turbo has no filter on it. And looks like maybe the power steering pump is leaking. Then, kind of like we've already talked about, we just need to get all these leaves and crap out of the car. Then inside of the car, there's really nothing to worry about in here. There was wasps in here at one point. So hopefully I don't get zapped by some wasp. I think they were over there. But the seat is good. Our harness bar is good. And then I do need a new battery. So there is a battery tray back there. You can see that black box. And it doesn't have a battery that was robbed for a different car, but I do have a core at least, so it shouldn't be too terrible. But yeah, but other than that, that's about all I'm gonna do for now to try to get this functional and running again. Looks like our buddy the Wasps also made a home right there on top of our on top of our radiator fan, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's start off by giving this thing a well-deserved cleaning. Whoopsie. Well, it's far from perfect, but it looks a heck of a lot better. We don't have the slime all over certain places. Looks like we got some good paint chippage, but at least it's not filthy. The hood there is much, much cleaner. And then this side had pretty terrible green slime all the way around it. And that is looking much better. The windows are still really filthy. I think that's gonna take a pretty intense manual cleaning by hand, because you can see there's all kinds of little like flurries and stuff all over it. So it is much better than it was, in a much better state. So now I ordered some these spark plug wires right here. So the way that these work is you can see that we have the coil pack and then the spark plug wire that goes down here. So 2 of them are direct coil on plug, and then 2 of them have these wires. So this one just connects to here and that one connects to there. And it looks like that's all we have in terms of chewed up wires from our little rat friends, and rip their home down there. So other than that, what I need to do is figure out the diameter of this hose. Let's see, does it say it? I can't quite see at this moment. I'm sure I'm just overlooking it, but look at how bad these cracks are. When I was lifting it while I was trying to power wash, I could literally hear it cracking. Like, this thing is absolutely just rock hard. It's like one of those little light sticks that you get as a kid that you snap and then they turn on and start making light. That is what this feels like. So we need to get the new fuel hose. I think that's the only, like, you know, mission critical thing at this point. So I kind of forgot this car has both a send and a return line on it. So I was looking just to kind of see what are our other critical fuel lines and that kind of thing we need to pay attention to before we try to fire this car up. And one of the things is we have our, what I think this is the feed line right here. That is connected with this brass fitting and what appears to be Teflon tape to a 1/4-inch line. That goes into our fuel pressure regulator over here. Then that comes around and connects to the actual fuel rail right here. And then there looks like the return line comes back down out of the fuel rail, you know, back into the tank. So really, those are the main 2 of concern. This one really doesn't actually even look that bad, but if I'm going to the auto parts store anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. I looked up this hose over here, the really bad one, and that appears to be hydraulic hose. I don't know if that's rated for fuel. I don't think it is. I think you want actual fuel line. So we're gonna get that sorted. We're gonna get this sorted. We'll pick up our spark plug wires, get our battery, and then go from there. While we don't have any pressure in the fuel system, I wanted to go ahead and get these off just to kind of look at it. 7. Oh, I made it to the ground. No worries. 6.5, I guess. That's sick. The fuel line on this side into the rail is just absolutely fused to this barb fitting. Look at that. I know it's gonna pop. I'm gonna break my hand, but I gotta go get something better. Oh man, keep having to shuttle back and forth for more tools. I got P-Boo Blaster. I meant to get silicone spray. Brutal. And then Mr. Flathead, a couple of open-end guys, see if we can get some of these hose clamps loose, and then some pliers to try to get this off. See what we can do. No! More droppage. Oh wow, this whole thing is spinning now. That's not good. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to just take this whole assembly off. Try to get it that way. No, the wasp is back. No, that's not good. Its home is about to go bye-bye, so hopefully I don't have to worry about this too much longer. The only proper answer now is to cut. There we go, it's finally moving. Did I finally break it free? Oh yeah, it's almost there. But it's spraying fuel in the process. Not good. Come on. Okay, well, that part of the hose is off, but the piece on the fitting is still there. So, oh no, it's just coming off in pieces now. Oh, it finally split. Oh no, it dropped to the ground. Why is everything dropping today? This one little piece fought me that hard. Seems like it might be just a smidge above 3/8, which is probably why this was so stuck on there. I think to get this end off of the fuel pressure regulator, I'm gonna take off the bolt right there and try to pull it off when the assembly is actually out. Hey, look, it's like a captive bolt. Can't come out. That's handy. Oh, another serious fight, but the fuel pressure regulator is now officially freed of its old rotten hoses. So that means that we just have one more on the other side here to get off, which I'm sure will be equally a fight. And then I can run to the store and we can start making forward progress. And with that, the last side of the fuel hose that needs to be replaced is freed. I got that off. Time to whip the Celsior to that one place. Like butter. Wow, this looks like some high quality, boys. Hopefully it does the job. And then also got the new pieces of fuel line. And then I recently learned about these like actual fuel injection clamps that are intended to go on fuel lines so they don't cut into the line. I don't know if this was some kind of secret that I wasn't clued into, but batteries at Walmart are so much cheaper than everywhere else. It's crazy. All right, so I'm back. I think I got everything I need. This needs to just get tightened up, these fittings here. Then I have brand new silicone vacuum line. Then, of course, as you already saw, I got the new hoses. Then what we need to do from here is just clean this out so we can pull out those now destroyed spark plug wires and replace them with the good ones. And then that way this crap doesn't all fall in our spark plug holes. Probably gonna have to go get the shop vac for this because this is serious. Wow. There we go. All right, our new ones here, just some no-name brand that I could get at the auto parts store easily today. The OE manufacturer is Denso, so I'd like to get those to have something legit, but at least we'll see if this will work to get it running. Pops in over here, and then that just plugs in over here. That is nice and simple. Voila, it looks a heck of a lot better. Still really filthy down there, but I don't think I'm gonna worry about it until I pull off this valve cover to try and get those bolts out and then get a new valve cover gasket on there. What was that? Okay, so I got the fittings on the fuel pressure regulator tightened down really good. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and kind of put it back in its home, and then we'll run the new lines, and then we'll put the battery in, and then I think we'll be fine to try to start it. So then I can move it in the garage, get it on ramps, do an oil change, and then maybe we'll take her for a rip. Okay, so this is jankily put back on with one bolt. I'd like to make some sort of bracket. It's relatively tight, but not the greatest thing in the world. Also, for cutting hose and stuff, I have this thing that I'm pretty sure is actually supposed to be a PVC cutter, but it works brilliantly for cutting hose. And it's gonna be able to cut these, no problem. I went ahead and bought 4 feet of both tubing because I just figured it'd be nice to have some extra fuel hose, and these are gonna be fairly common sizes. I'll just kind of add it to my stockpile. And this is really just gonna need to go from about there to there, roughly. So maybe I can even pull this in to make it, cut it right about, let's see, do I have something to mark this with? Not anything that's a good quality thing. I think I'll just kind of hold it here. So here, right about there. So then all I have to do is just basically, this is nice and precise, obviously. There we go. So now we got our length of 3/8. And like I mentioned, I have these fancier fuel hose clamps, so we'll put those on. So just to kind of give you an idea of what you were looking at. So the hose is gonna go down there and just simply curve right back up to the fuel pressure regulator. If you remember before, the hose was so long, it went all the way out there and around, which is just not necessary. So we can simplify that a bit and save ourselves some good length of hose for next time. And then the 1/4 inch just needs to run from the bottom fitting on the FPR back to this barb fitting right here, and that one just kind of chills in there. So that one's not a very far span. That one's just about 2 feet. That officially ain't going nowhere. All right, so let's see here. This is gonna run from here, and that goes on nice and easy. I'm not gonna do that just yet. And that's gonna go to about right here. Perfecto. And then that will just slide right on. All right, one more side. I think the fuel lines are good to go now. We'll just cut this one right here. Fuel pressure regulator into the intake manifold. And boom, baby. That is good. All right, time to get the new battery in. And in this car, the battery was relocated to the trunk, as you can see. But the power line is just janky and definitely has to be fixed. What the hell? Why is this still in here? This is always so terrible to do when you don't have a battery with a handle on it. There we go. All right. Thank goodness I pretty much brought every possible socket combination out here, because this side is a 10 and a 13 and this side is a 13 and a 13. That's super annoying. Socket hammer. So when I was putting in the battery, I mentioned this car has a kill switch, and it sure does. It's right here. This is obviously not very ideal with it just being loose like this. What I'll probably try to do is maybe wire it up, and then perhaps I can put a switch in here. Like maybe I could just mount it right in this little bracket, and then that way I just have a toggle right here. Nonetheless, this will be fine for now. So let's see, we should see, I'm about to flip this, and then the dash, there we go. Yeah, perfect. And then I want to see if I can go ahead and pull the fuel pump fuse, and then that way we can turn the car over a couple times, get some oil pressure, and then check our new fuel lines to make sure all that's good to go. Also, this car has a really funny thing that just scared the crap out of me. I forgot about. There it goes, right there. It locks itself, and it will do it all the way around. So I need to find the fuel pump fuse and the central locking fuse and get that to stop. You know what else is absolutely bonkers that blows my mind is this car only has 109,000 miles. So wild. For so long, this was the lowest mileage car that I've owned. And then once I got the Celsior, that is, but not by much. See if we can find our fuel pump relay / fuse in this front box. Yeah, fuel pump number 1. Where is that? Right there in the middle, this 20 amp right there. Easy. Got my factory spec fuse pullers. Perfecto. So let's see if it'll turn over, build up some oil pressure. We'll check for other leaks. Then we can put that back in and get the car to prime a couple times. Then we can check our new hoses for leaks, and then we can try to fire it up. I did check, and there is some kind of liquid in here. It appears to be water, which is perfect. And then that should be fine. I also think the oil is fine too, because there's no drips on the ground at all. So I don't think it's lost any oil. I think that it is all still inside the motor. All right, oh, there we go. Door locks, nice. Let's see if it'll turn over. Should, I don't expect it not to. Well, it's almost started, so that seems good. I'm gonna call that good. Well, that was awesome. Pretty much fired right up, which is funny because the fuel pump fuse is still chilling there. I guess that's residual stuff in the line, because obviously it didn't stay alive. But so far I don't see any leaks. I'm gonna go ahead and get all this stuff off the car, put the fuel pump relay back in, prime it a couple of times, check for pressure leaks, and then we'll do a full fire up. So I primed it 3 times. Looks good to me. Yep, all dry back there. Let's fire it up. Here we go. Ooh, that backfire! Wow, it runs perfectly. It's so smooth. Seems good to me. It's alive. Listen to it. Straight pipe. Look at how powerful this exhaust is. Let's double check everything up here. It all looks good in terms of our fuel line repairs. Everything looks good in here. I don't want to run it for too long. I just simply want to get it into my garage so that way I can actually check coolant and oil. I had to turn it off so that I could open the gates and get the Celsior back up the road. But this is going to be the first time the Sonata has left these gates since it pretty much got back from that track day in 2020. It went for 1 drive with my brother, and that's it. So in 3 years, it's moved 1 time, and this is about to be its second. Well, we made it to the garage. Not to mention that one of the last times this car drove, it did a smoky burnout on my back pad, and it looks like every time you turn the wheel, some of the remnants shred off. That's ridiculous. So the tires are quite low. We're gonna pop some air in those bad boys real quick. Speaking of tires, what is the date stamp on these? Let's see if we can find that. 2012. Wow, that's crazy. So they were in okay shape, but I mean, that means they're over 10 years old now. So probably we'll have to do one more smoky burnout to send it. See what our tire pressure's at. That is not what I think you want your tire pressures to be, especially on the front. See what our rear left looks like. Similar. This front left tire just looks sad. I mean, look at it from above. You can see how bad it's sagging. So what's your guess? Take a guess. All right, I actually thought it was gonna be less than that. Ooh, this rear left looks bad. Guess? Oh, that is dirt nasty. Is that even right? Does it not even register on the scale? Whew. That's terrible. Hey, real quick, if you're stoked to see more on the Sonata content and you don't want to wait for the videos, you can get little hints and updates on my Instagram. It's jjinmotion, jj.in.motion. So hit me up and follow me on Instagram. Now that we got the tires aired up, let's head out real quick to Mexico. I was about to head out to Mexico. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, that is scary, scary, scary. I guess that's why there's some dead wasp buddies up there. That's disgusting, actually. I need to get rid of that. Oh, the windshield's still filthy. Gotta scrape off some of that rust on them brakes. Bad, you can hear it. Oh my God. I was saying, oh my God, because the ride is so rough. It's insane. Switching from the Celsior back to this is like about as harsh and about as soft as it possibly could be. That fuel pump is mad.
driving this, officer?
So we've established that this car runs and it's pretty damn good even after sitting for all this time. I am so fired up. Going out to Mexico just for a minute was awesome. I am like shaking with adrenaline, and to feel this car and hear it again, and the smells, like you just smell like exhaust. It's just such an experience, this whole thing. So with that, there is plenty more work to do. It definitely needs some quality of life upgrades. It's gonna need new tires. I'm gonna have to address the brakes. I wanna look at some of the suspension components that have probably never been replaced, quite a few of them, and just see where we're at and what would make sense. I was also thinking what probably makes sense is to kind of look at tech inspection sheets for some of the events that I might wanna do, and just kind of compare like, where is this car at and what would I need to do just to kind of pass tech at like a serious event. Obviously, this car has a massive history. So many of you are back here with me for this adventure, and I'm so stoked about that. So all of you that have subscribed, it's been hundreds over the last 24 hours. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and this car definitely lives on. Gonna have to get new tires pretty much immediately because the fronts are just roasted, and you can kind of feel it. There's some jitter, which wasn't there before those burnouts. So that definitely has to be addressed right away. And then just minor things. I need to fix the battery cable and stuff like that. But otherwise, this car's a ripper, so it could do stuff. Maybe we'll do some street pulls in the future and race people like that. If you're new here on the channel and you've made it this far, you're amazing. What can you expect moving forward? Well, we're gonna have Sonata content. We have the Celsior out there, and then soon my E46 Turbo project is gonna be back from the fabricator, so we're gonna have that to rip and roar with as well. And I want to take that to track days too. So I hope that there's a lot more exciting content to come. There's going to be a series of builds and kind of perfectionism like on the Celsior. That might be a daily driver and a car we will regularly use here on the channel. And then of course we're going to have crazy, ridiculous cars like this. All that is to come, and I hope you're stoked. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so and just hit that button. Would love to have you here, and I'll see you in a future video.